My dear students, hope all of you are keeping well and keeping yourself safe. Here, I'm going to take a class on radioisotopes, its use in medicine, and its hazards. I'll give you the outline of the topics because elaborate discussions are beyond the scope of the present standard. So you'll be learning more when you will go through further in the course of the medical sciences. Next, please. So before I discuss the use and its hazards, we have to first know about the isotopes and radioisotopes. So what are isotopes basically? Isotopes are elements with same atomic number, that is the number of the protons, but different mass number, that is the number of protons plus varying number of neutrons, whichever may be present in the particular atom. So isotopes are with the same atomic number but different mass numbers. Like in hydrogen, they have other isotopes, deuterium and tritium. In case of oxygen, there is oxygen. Normally, most of the oxygen is mass number with 16, but in case of there are other isotopes 17 with mass number 17 and 18, some of which are stable, some of unstable. So these are the elementary physics that I think you know better than me. You are fresh from the physics classes. So what are the difference between isotopes and isobars? I just recapitulate. Isobars are nothing but the atoms with the same mass number but different atomic number. Like nitrogen or normal isotopes of nitrogen having 14 mass number, atomic number 7, but carbon 14 is isotopes of carbon which are mass number 14, but its atomic number is 6. So just this is for recapitulation. Now we are going to discuss about radioisotopes. So what is that? Next please. So first we should know what is radioactivity. So radioactivity is the spontaneous degradation of nucleus and transmutation of one element to another with consequent emission of rays as particles is known as radioactivity. So by radioactivity, it is the disintegration of the nucleus part. A nuclear part is made up of several other subnuclear particles like different positron, neutron, the other things. So various particles that disintegrate and give rise to certain emission in the form of certain particles that we will be knowing. So the emission of rays or particles are independent of temperature, pressure, concentration or environment. So this is the radioactivity where there is emission of the particles, and these particles are due to disintegration or decay of the nucleus, and thereby one particular element is changed to another element. The isotopes which are unstable, actually they are the radioactive isotopes. There are some stable isotopes who don't decay. Now nuclear, so it is purely a nuclear phenomenon due to disintegration of sub-nuclear components, as I have told you, positron, others subnuclear particles are there, neutron, positron. Now chemical reactions are totally because of the different phenomena, different character. That is because of based on the activity of the outer electrons. There's nothing to do with the nucleus. But the radioactivity is completely due to the decay of the subnuclear particles. So this is a nuclear phenomenon. Next, please. Now, just if you briefly describe about the radiation, simply, though there are different type of emissions, presently you have noticed, we have studied very nicely nowadays, and you all people know this. So simply, we can be divided, the radiation can be divided into three particles. So alpha, beta, and gamma. So what are alpha particles? The alpha particle is nothing but the helium nucleus, consists of 2 proton and 2 neutron coming out of a particular element which is decaying. Like here in the example, radium 226, where atomic number is 88, decays into radon, thereby converted into atomic number 86 and the mass number 222 plus 1 helium is liberated. That is, the alpha particle is liberated. So this way it is degrading. And what about the beta rays? Actually negatron. That you know, beta ray is nothing but negatron. One proton is made up of one positron and one negatron. Negatron is nothing but the electron which are nuclear origin. And this electron is liberated out of the nucleus. Now, carbon 14, when emits beta rays, is converted to nitrogen plus 1 negatron or beta rays plus 1 neutron. Now, about the gamma rays are nothing but the electromagnetic wave. So gamma rays also is emitted from some of the radioactive isotopes, like iodine 131 emits radioactive isotopes. Beta rays are liberated, thereby converted into xenon, and this xenon is further emits one gamma, which is converted to xenon 131, which is stable ones. So thereby a particular radioactive isotopes decays, the element decays, so till it decays to its half strength. That is the life, which is very important in the physics, that you know, that is known as half-life, time taken for a radioactive isotopes to become half of its original activity. Next, please. So there are certain examples of isotopes with their half-life and major type of radiations. Like carbon 14, its half-life is 5,600 years and it emits mainly beta rays. Now, you know about carbon 14 is an excellent molecule which helps in the studies of different age. So that I will be discussing in the chapter of utilization. Now, there are so many: tritium, then phosphorus 32, then chromium 51, so on. There are so many examples, and you can see their half-lives given besides their major type of radiations they emit. So some emit beta rays, some emit gamma rays mainly, and so on. They decays and they emit its radiation. Next, please. So before we go and discuss the use and its hazards, we should know about the units of radioactivity. The radioactivity units can be determined according to its source, how much radiation is coming, and its effect, how much it is affected, how much it affects the tissues, where it is also counted, that the amount of radioactivity. So, according to source, there are units of radioactivity is mainly is a Curie. So Curie, that you know, is a famous name of famous scientists, Madame Curie and Pierre Curie, who has devoted their life for this radioactivity research, and they have discovered some of the very, very important aspects of the physics, mainly, and Madame Curie has actually given her life for research in these particular radionuclides. So anyway, 1 Curie is equal to 3.7 into 10 to the power 10 dps, disintegration per seconds. 1 dps equal to 1 basic uranium. That is another unit. That is a common unit. I think when you study this, if you are in oncology or some radiological departments, you will be better studying on these aspects. Anyway, these are the basic things I am discussing here. Effect of, by effect, if you count, there are different units. One, Röntgen. Röntgen is a measurement of exposure dose. 1 hour gives rise to 2 into 10 to the power 9 ion pairs per cc air. So 1 millicurie is equal to 12.9 hour per hour at 1 centimeter distance. So they're all mathematics calculations. I think when you want to apply certain dose to the patients or calculate, then you require all this to know in a department of radiotherapy. Rad, 1 rad is equal to 1.5 into 10 to the power 12 ion pairs per gram of tissue, and gray is 1 gay. Gray is equal to 100 rads. So REM, REM is a Röntgen equivalent in men. So these are the common units which I have discussed here. So the which radioactivity, its source, from the source and its effect is measured. Next please. Use of radioisotopes in medical science. The first use of radioisotopes in medical science nowadays. So in research, in diagnosis, as well as in treatment. So here are certain examples. Now in research, tracer techniques like C14, I have already told you, they are very much important in study metabolic pathways. So when you study citric acid cycle, you have probably noted in a book of Harper that certain carbons are dotted with asterisks given. So these carbons are nothing but the radionuclide tracers, which will give you clearly the atoms coming from acetyl-CoA going where, in which way. So this way metabolic studies are much easier nowadays, and we can trace the any metabolic pathways by this way, which was not possible previously. Age calculation is anthropological things which has in research, not directly into the medical science, but sometimes in the forensic medicine it is also required. Turnover number and half-life detection, that is also very important. How much turnover, how much RBC is turnover, how much albumin is turnover. So iodine 131 is used often in these research activities. Nucleic acid research very much required the help of the radionuclides, 30 carbon, phosphorus 32 or tritium, thymidine, etc. They always give us the pathways as well as different other aspects of intervention. Now carbon dating, that I have already told you, is an environmental study, topological study, where 5,600, one amount of decay of the radioactivity amounts to 5,600. So whatever is the radioactivity today, if you can just multiply it by 2, so you will be multiplying into 1000 into 600 years. So that's why you can go back how much age of the particular things are there. So that is something which is beyond our topic, beyond our subject. We don't know that much about this particular study technique. So please, if you are interested, you can always study in future. Now, diagnostic purpose, that is important in the medical science nowadays. Nowadays, we don't diagnose most of the disease without medical imaging, and most of the medical imaging requires the help of these medical radio isotopes. Scans, CT scan, etc. Different type of scans are going on, Reno scan. So here thyroid uptake study, we use 131, thyroid scan 131 iodine, bone scan we require strontium 90, in the kidney scan we require iodine 131 again. So in the radio immunoassay like ELISA, like chemilumens, we also can determine the concentration of hormones, concentration of vitamins by the radio immunoassay. So it's an immunoassay by use of radioactive isotopes. So that can be also done. And lifespan of RBC, that I have told you, the turnover, how the RBC is turnover. Sometimes there are different type of anemia, hematological disorders where we require to study these things. So for diagnostic purpose, use of radioisotopes is now very, very important, and they are absolutely required nowadays. Next, please. Now about treatment. I think I have already discussed use of the radiotherapy when I have discussed the basis of cancer chemotherapy. So radiotherapy means they are using some radioisotopes, and different way of radiotherapy techniques are there. So sometimes we use beta rays, sometimes we use gamma rays. So beta rays are usually used in the thyroid cancer, in the polycythemia vera, phosphorus 32 and iodine 131 in the thyroid cancer, usually used in the treatment. And gamma rays we are using mainly for the treatment of brachytherapy as well as for stereotherapy. Now for brachytherapy, intracavity application, cancer body of uterus and cervix, interstitial application for the oral cancer and tongue cancer. So that are the brachytherapy where there is used of this cesium-137 mainly. And the stereotherapy, mainly we use cesium-137 as well as cobalt-60. So various type of cancers were used. So that is used in a linear accelerator mainly, that you know, and that you'll be knowing much better when you study in that particular specialty. Next, please. So we have to also have a brief idea on the hazards, because we have to deal sometimes with the radioactive things. Mainly the doctors who work in the radiology department, the radiotherapy department, the nursing personnel, the different paramedical staffs. So we should also very much be clear. Now most of the times we handle radioactive substances, so better we should have an idea of these biological effects of radioactivity. Directly it can damage our DNA molecules. So thymine dimerization, double strand break also happens sometimes. That causes mutations and you don't know what is the consequences. Ultimately causes cancers. Indirectly it can damage to local blood supply, causing necrosis. So in the biological effects, mainly direct or maybe indirect. Directly on the blood cells or bone marrow, it causes leukopenia, thrombocytopenia, and Madame Curie, who actually have tremendous contribution into the research of radioisotopes, who did research with the radium, died of leukemia ultimately. So she has given her life for the science. It's a great contribution. Anyway, in the skin, there are definitely some effects of acute and chronic dermatitis and ultimately cancer. All the mucous membranes are also affected: nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, ulceration and bleeding, fibrosis, stenosis, and obstruction. So all sorts of things happen in the continuous radioactive exposures, and subject of this type of people mainly works in this field are mainly affected, so have to be little cautious, and that's why we should also know how we can protect ourselves. So here is some idea how radio workers in the radiology department protect themselves. What should be the minimum dose that we can have per year? That we also don't know. Now, this is very interesting. The overall background radiation is allowed up to 150 millirem per year for any person, of which 50% come from the cosmic rays, 30% from the terrestrial environment, and actually 20% from the internal environment. Radiation is coming from your TV, from your mobile, from your refrigerators. So, very difficult to prevent the hazards of radioactivity if you are not conscious. Now, when at high altitude and in the coastal regions, the radioactivity is more. That you should know, people should know. 20% more. So, because cosmic rays is coming there, very quick, more. One diagnostic X-ray exposure can give you radiation 75 millirem. So, how many exposure you should have in a year? That you also should know. So, maximum permissible dose, that is very, very important, that is calculated for mainly the radiological workers, like doctors, technicians, their nursing staff. 5 milligram per year for them. So, whatever they do, they have a lead shield, always lead jacket they wear, but still they got some radiation. So they have a badge, detector, which measures how much dose they are consuming. So when it crosses 5, but when it approaches that, they are restrained from the work so that they have no further damage to their tissues. Now, for the common people, for general people, only 0.5 milligram per year is allowed. So you have to calculate out of the environmental radiation, internal radiation, external radiations, and your from the different exposures of the X-rays and other scans. So how much radiation you can have, you consume, and that is very, very important to have a minimum idea. So I think this is the outline only, and this is very, very interesting. Not only it is a very, very complicated subjects as well. You have to know in details in that particular subject, and then it will be much more clear to you. Thank you.